Krav Maga is the most overrated and flawed self-defense system on the planet. It's glorified karate built on fantasy disarms, choreographed drills, and delusional confidence. If you're thinking about joining a Krav Maga school, watch this video first, because what you don't know could get you hurt or even killed. Let's check it out. There are so many flaws in Krav Maga, I could spend hours breaking it all down. But you'd run out of bandwidth before I ran out of problems. So in today's video, I'm going to focus on just a few of the dangerous flaws. The ones that create false confidence, get people hurt, and in some cases, get them killed. Now, before some of you keyboard warriors become unglued and rush to the comment section telling me how I don't know what I'm talking about or I just don't understand Krav Maga, let me let you in on a little secret. I was studying Krav Maga in the United States before most of you even heard of the name, let alone learned how to pronounce it correctly. I trained in it long before it was franchised, commercialized, and turned into a belt factory. So yes, I know what I'm talking about. And one more thing, for those of you who say that I'm too emotional or I need to calm down, understand this. I get angry because I've seen what bad training leads to. I've met people who were seriously injured in real fights because they trusted garbage systems like Krav Maga. When you put blind faith in a broken method, you don't just lose the fight, you risk your life. When useless combat systems like Krav Maga get people hurt, I don't stay calm, I get angry. And if you have any real world experience or perspective, you would too. Failure number one, fantasy weapon disarms. Let's start with the biggest and most dangerous lie Krav Maga sells to its students, their disarming skills. Their gun and knife defenses are not just unrealistic, they're reckless, suicidal garbage dressed up as self-defense. Most of them ignore the single most critical rule of weapon disarms: control the weapon or get ventilated. Without that, every disarm technique they teach is pure fantasy. So let's demonstrate a common Krav Maga gun disarm. Gunman holds me up, my hands come up, and in one motion, I redirect and I punch. I come under and I strip out. That is their gun disarm technique. So what are the flaws in that disarm? Let's break it down. Tommy holds me up. First of all, they always teach with their hands low. They never raise the hands up to the height of the weapon. That is a #1 rule in contemporary fighting arts. You always raise your hands to the height of the weapon. You never have it low. The next thing is they don't move their target out of the line of fire as they redirect the weapon. All they do is rely on that hand to redirect it. Huge mistake. You must move your target out of the line of fire as you redirect the weapon. And I address this in many of my gun disarm videos on this channel. The next moronic thing they do is as they redirect, they punch vertically from this position. Are they out of their freaking minds? This has no power whatsoever. There's no torque. Your body is contorted. There's no power. And what's this vertical punching? What is this, Wing Chun Kung Fu? We don't punch like this in a street fight. There is no torque, there's no power. Show this to an MMA fighter and he's gonna laugh his ass off because he knows what body mechanics are all about. So when I redirect it and I throw this punch, it's not gonna do a thing, it's only gonna agitate this individual. And of course, I'm holding with one hand. Huge mistake and a clear indication that they don't understand what really happens in real world violence. When I'm actually trying to take this weapon with one hand, you think this guy's gonna stand here like a cadaver and let me pull it away or control it? He has chaos, rage, anger. He is gonna give me all of this energy. He's not gonna just stand there and let me hold it with one hand. You always must hold with two hands. No matter what you do in a gun disarm, you must control the weapon with two hands, always. And finally, let's address this bullshit gun stripping technique they teach. So let's replicate this disaster of a technique. They come here, they punch, and they come under and they strip it. They forgot the most critical thing. You have to first neutralize him before you ever attempt to disarm this. So before going for this stripping technique, what you need to do is neutralize him. Headbutts, knee strikes, throat shot, even biting. The idea is to soften him, weaken him, neutralize him, and then you will perform the gun stripping technique, which of course ours is different from theirs because theirs is stupid. The key is you have to neutralize them before you ever attempt to disarm the weapon. If you didn't think it could get any worse, well, guess what? I've got news for you. It gets much worse. Let's take a look at Krav Maga's knife defense techniques. Before we get into dismantling their technique, let's talk about the most important thing that they did not include, a knife defense stance. Notice how when they do these techniques, they do it from a fighting stance, a boxer stance. This is glorified karate, guys. This is not real-world self-defense training. In contemporary fighting arts, if someone has a knife, we assume the knife defense stance. And I have videos explaining about the vulnerabilities of stance structure and how it's critical that you have a knife defense stance. And I'm not going to spend time getting into the subtleties and nuances of protective stances, but I'm just telling you, this fighting stance against a knife attacker tells me one thing. They have no clue about defending against a man with a blade. Now for the catastrophic technique they teach. You know, I got to tell you guys, every time I do this stuff with Tommy, it just enrages me and it sickens me to even do this. I don't even want this in my DNA. So he attacks. What they do is they block and they strike simultaneously. Karate, you don't block a knife attack. You do not block a knife attack. You're going to get carved up. You have to control the actual attack. Blocking, do you think he's going to sit there and just statically hold that position? First of all, his retraction phase is going to sever your arm. So as he stabs, he's going to pull it right back. Faster, Tommy. That's it. Okay, we're talking being static in terms of his stance. Imagine that forward energy, that rage, that insanity. Maybe he's mentally ill. You think he's just going to sit there and go like this, like some sort of ridiculous cartoon? It doesn't happen that way. So your block is not going to stop the attack. The next thing is their simultaneous punch and block is absurd. It does not work. I've had videos I put out about talking about blocking and striking simultaneously does not work. It's stupid. So this technique here, no power, no control, you're going to die. Do not apply this technique ever against a man with a blade. To compare this to something that actually works in the street, if a man has a blade, first of all, I should run as fast as I can. But if I can't run, I assume a protective knife defense stance. If he comes in, I actually go in and control the actual limb holding the knife. And from here, I neutralize him, I soften him up, and then I disarm the weapon. That is the only way this is going to work in the real world, guys. As dumb as it is, I'm gonna address the low attack. So again, they're in their stance, they throw the low attack, and they do this. Again, stupidity, never gonna work. You're not controlling the weapon, you're going to die. You have to control the weapon. And punching like this, punching against a knife attack like this, I don't have the words to say how moronic this is. These are people teaching self-defense under the name Krav Maga. And I've got one more for you, one more knife disarm technique they teach in Krav Maga. The stupidity speaks for itself. I'll demonstrate it. Failure number 2, simultaneous block and counter. The moment a Krav Maga instructor teaches you to block and strike at the same time, they're exposing one ugly truth. They've never faced real violence in their life. Because if they had, they'd know it never works in a real fight. Now, let's address the simultaneous block and counter, which is foundational in Krav Maga. I guess I have to explain this one too. Okay, Number one, you never have your hands open with what they call an attack by draw, because you don't know how fast he is. He could be a pro boxer, he could be an amateur boxer that has an incredibly powerful lead punch. You're taking a huge gamble. If you're confronted with someone during the pre-contact stage, you have your hands in de-escalation, you occupy the center line. You don't open it up to draw the attack. That is old school thinking. That is antiquated. We have the hands not open, we close the center line. So if he does throw an attack in punching range, as I did in this demonstration, he circumvents. You have the shortest distance between 2 points. You have the straight line. So right there, the stance structure, flawed. Okay, so let's address the actual technique. Now, technically, this is not a simultaneous blocking counter, it's a simultaneous parrying counter. So from the stance, he throws the punch. What are you punching? You're punching his belly, his stomach with a vertical fist? Are you out of your freaking mind? This is real world combat. You're gonna get destroyed by somebody. He's not even gonna feel that technique. What the actual are these people thinking? Again, these are people who have never experienced real world combat. You have no idea the viciousness of what people can do in combat. They're dudes who will gladly take hits. Some people get off on being hit in the course of a fight. I face guys that enjoy being hit back. You think punching them in the stomach with a vertical fist, which has zero power, is gonna do anything? The only thing it's gonna do is gonna put you in a coffin. Failure number 3, no pre-contact training. Krav Maga completely ignores the most critical phase of real-world violence, the pre-contact stage of self-defense. There's no tactical de-escalation, no first strike methodology, no reading of cues or controlling range. Instead, they train you to wait, to react after the attacker makes the first move. That's not strategy, that's suicide. It's the self-defense equivalent of letting a gunslinger draw his gun first and hoping your reflexes are faster than the bullet. Krav Maga waits. We act, because in the real world, whoever controls the pre-contact phase controls the fight. And finally, one of the other flaws of Krav Maga is that they are a passive system. They are a defensive-oriented system. They don't even have a pre-contact strategy or methodology. By that I mean, in contemporary fighting arts, we have an entire system built around the first strike. Everything from selective semantics, everything from range manipulation, all these tactics have to come into play to launch the first strike, which is critical in the pre-contact stages of self-defense. Again, it has to be legally and morally justified, but again, you need that methodology. Krav Maga is defensively oriented. They always start with a hand positioning that invites the attack, and then they counter. For example, open hand positioning, he throws a punch, and then they do their absurd counter. This is not going to work in the real world, guys. This defensive mindset is going to get you killed. Krav Maga is a complete joke, sold to the gullible, practiced by the untested, and trusted by the ignorant. It teaches you to react late, believe in fantasy disarms, strike like a cardio class, and die with confidence. If your combat system isn't pressure tested for real world violence, you're not preparing to survive. You're rehearsing your own death. Find a combat system forged in reality, or keep clinging to the Krav Maga illusion and pray your attacker is just as fake as your training. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.